listening to The Breakfast Show here on Faith FM with Skafy and Lawson. This is the third hour of our program where we are going to get into a deep dive into the book of Joshua here with Lawson leading that segment. But before we get into that, I'm wondering, Producer Shell, do we have any text messages that came through or any quiz questions to play along?
Text messages you guys should still be able to see, right? You got those ones in front of you?
Yes.
We do have some big ones that have come through. So, yeah, most of them are just concerned about us. We got a few people who are claiming the book as well.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of people claiming for the book on diabetes. So that's great. We're going to send that to them. We have Sharon, Terry, Gary, and many others who have already requested the book. So we are going to send them your way.
Fantastic. Good news. We do have a quiz, though. If you want a quiz, I can do one of those for you.
Yes, please. I'm looking forward to one.
All right. Now, this one is very similar to the last one. I'm just swapping it around. I want to know how many times are resurrections back to life recorded in the New Testament?
Okay. How many times?
So you had 3 in the Old. We've solved that mystery. So how many resurrections are in the New Testament recorded? Now, I'm just asking for the recorded things, not how many people were resurrected, because we can't know that exactly, but we can know how many recorded events.
Okay.
Oh, that's not a bad guess, but it's not correct, Lawson. I'll take that one.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Hey, if you know the answer, 0491 064 669 is the number to text. You feeling it? Skafy's looking it up right now. He's counting.
I'm counting here. This is according to my count here. I arrived at that number.
You're good. Yeah, you got
is that
it.
on?
I'm happy with that.
Okay.
One.
Look, I have a list here, of everybody that I could think of.
Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, well done.
Hey, Lawson, so you know, getting some flying scores here. Happening from my end of the camp. A++.
I got it right as well. So cool. But hey, you're listening to The Breakfast Show.
I'm going to read it out one more time. How many times are resurrections back to life recorded in the New Testament? Let us know.
Absolutely. 0491 064 669 is the number to text if you're listening to The Breakfast Show this morning, which we hope you are.
So what are we going to be learning about Joshua today, Lawson of Lawsons?
Okay, so you had said, Skafy, you said, you know what, Joshua is just so awesome because there's no contention.
I've been really impressed. I've been learning a lot.
Yeah.
But however, with that Joshua thing, and yesterday we spoke about Joshua offering a great reward to the Reubenites and the Gadites. But you're telling me that there is going to be trouble in the playground. There's going to be fire in the playground. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, a little bit. But it's interesting. I did kind of build it up as, because you had made the point, is that,
people are not complaining, they're just obeying, doing their thing.
And this particular, uprising here is coming out of an issue of obedience, actually.
Ooh, okay. Man, I cannot wait. All right.
So we're going to pick it up in verse 10, and we're just going to start reading. So we're in Joshua chapter 22. We're going to start reading in verse 10 and just getting an idea.
Okay. When they came to the region of the Jordan, which is in the land of Canaan, the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh built an altar there by the Jordan, a large altar in appearance. And the sons of Israel heard it and said, Behold, the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh have built an altar at the frontier of the land of Canaan in the region of the Jordan on the side belonging to the sons of Israel. So when the sons of Israel heard of it, the whole congregation of the sons of Israel gathered themselves at Shiloh to go up against them in war.
All right, let's stop there.
They were just building an altar. Maybe they just wanted to worship God in the sincerity of their hearts. Why are people waging war against them, Lawson? What's going on here?
Yeah, this is a great question. And we're seeing here like Israel through this experience have clearly had a big moment of revival amongst the nations, particularly a revival back to obedience to God, a revival back to, hey, it's so necessary to keep God's law, to keep God's statutes, to do what God says. This is the experience that Israel have had, this amazing revival, and this is their top priority. Now, the rest of the children of Israel have heard that Reuben, Gad, and half of Manasseh, the people that were going to cross back over the Jordan and occupy the frontier land, they hear that these guys have built an altar, and their immediate reaction is, let's go to war. This is how they feel. Now, the question is why? Why is this altar so contentious? The big reason is because there were and there had been some commands, and particularly the interpretation of those commands as well throughout the book of Leviticus and Deuteronomy, which is that collective and communal worship would happen in a single place. Do you know where that single place was?
At this point in Shiloh.
In Shiloh, yeah. So the children of Israel, they would all occupy their various lands, but in terms of where they would bring their gifts, where they would bring their offerings, where they would sacrifice, which is usually like, this is what an altar that is built is used for, is this like a place and a center of worship where these kinds of things happen. At this time, it's in Shiloh, because they've built this another altar here, on the edge of the river. There is now what's being perceived by the rest of the Israelites is these people have been unfaithful to the direct and explicit commands of God, and they're trying to lead us astray.
So they thought that they are like starting like a separate religion.
Yes.
Or they're starting that they were going to go after other gods. That's what they're probably suspecting.
That's right.
That could have happened.
As soon as they hear, and get this right, like these people have lived in Egypt as slaves. They've also been in the wilderness for like 40 years, and then they've had to just fight for 6-7 years to get into the promised land. They're finally laying down their roots, and then they hear that, hey, did these guys just build an altar over here? Didn't they know we were supposed to collectively worship together? Are they doing it so they can worship other gods?
But do you have that? Because look, Abraham and the patriarchs, they were building altars left, right, and center. Yeah. Everywhere they go, I mean, not left, right, and center, but like everywhere they go, and they have seen like an appearance of God, for example. They have had an experience. The thing that you do is like you build an altar as a memorial.
Yes.
And to offer burnt offerings, to sacrifices and thanksgivings. We were reading the story of Gideon just the other day. Gideon, established an altar where God appeared to him. So, like, was it wrong? Did God himself say to them, like, hey, don't build another altar, just stick with the one in Shiloh? Where's that sort of is that subintended?
Yeah, so
where is that in the Bible?
There's a number of passages that allude to this kind of thing. I've got one here in Deuteronomy chapter 12. It says, "These are the statutes and the judgments which you shall be careful to observe in the land which the Lord your God is giving you to possess, all the days that you live on the earth. You shall utterly destroy all the places where the nations which you shall dispossess serve their gods, on the high mountains and in the hills and under every green tree. And you shall destroy their altars, break their sacred pillars, and burn their wooden images with fire. You shall cut down their carved images of their gods and destroy their names from that place. You shall not worship the Lord your God with such things," which is pretty fair. Like this is, hey, go and destroy every single other place of false worship. This is the first section that's given here. Then we pick it up in verse 5. It says, "But you shall seek the place where the Lord your God chooses out of all your tribes to put his name for his dwelling place, and there you shall go. There you shall make your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, and heave offerings of your hand, your vowed offerings, your free will offerings, and the firstborn of your herds and flocks. And there you shall eat before the Lord, and there you shall rejoice in all which you have put your hand, you and your household, in which the Lord your God has blessed you."
Okay, so God says, look, if you're bringing a sacrifice, bring it to the tent.
Yeah. Bring it to this place. Hey, like
Bring
find
it
a
to this
spot.
plants. Yeah.
Find a spot.
Don't do it with your own hands. Like, come to this spot here.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I mean, in principle, we were talking earlier in the show about this concept of coming to the right, coming to church, essentially, being a part of the collective worship of people. And this is what it's getting at here, that, hey, this collective worship in this particular place is is necessary. This is for the children of Israel. And so I can hear what you're saying about, hey, didn't all the patriarchs make altars and whatnot? But because of their
it was before the tabernacle was established.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And because of the rigid stance against idolatry, essentially what the other children of Israel hear when they hear, oh, they've set up another altar somewhere else, what they hear is
all the alarm bells are ringing.
Yeah, massive red flags here. And immediately the other nations come together to go to war. They're like, hey, we need to sort this out head on, head first right now. Now, was it the intention, and this is really important, was it the intention of the Manassites or the Reubenites or the Gadites? Were they like, yeah, let's go and worship other gods? Is this what they wanted to do?
Oh, I don't know. Let's find out.
Well, I'm going to stake my claim and say no. This wasn't their intention. This isn't what they wanted to do. But hey, let's pick it up in verse 13 and start to read in Joshua 22.
Okay. So verse 13 here, then the sons of Israel sent to the sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh into the land of Gilead. Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, and with him 10 chiefs, one chief for each father's household, from each of the tribes of Israel. And one of them was the head of his father's household among the thousands of Israel. So they came to the sons of Reuben and to the sons of Gad and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, to the land of Gilead, and he spoke with them, saying, thus says the whole congregation of Israel, what is this unfaithful act which you have committed against the God of Israel, turning away from following the Lord this day by building yourselves an altar to rebel against the Lord this day? Is it not the iniquity of Peor enough for us, from which we have not cleansed ourselves to this day, although a plague came on the congregation of the Lord, that you must turn away this day from following the Lord? If you rebel against the Lord today, he will be angry with all of us, the whole congregation of Israel, tomorrow. If, however, the land of your possession is unclean, then cross into the land of the possession of the Lord, where the Lord's tabernacle stands, and take possession among us. Only, please, do not rebel against the Lord or rebel against us by building an altar for yourselves besides the altar of the Lord our God, like the altar.
Yeah. And let's read verse 20 as well.
20. Did not Achan, the son of Zerah, act unfaithfully in the things under the ban, and wrath fall on all the congregation of Israel? And that man did not perish alone in his iniquity? I kind of really like their Bible interpretation here, to be honest. Because basically what they're saying is, look, this thing has happened in the past. One person rebelled against the Lord, and the whole collective bore the consequences of it. We don't want this to happen again to us.
That's right.
And I'm wondering if we can have the same approach in our churches, which I don't think we have. It's like, imagine if the church said, look, the sin of one person is bringing reproach and curse upon the whole congregation here, Lawson. So you go there and you start, ask them, hey, why are you doing this? Why are you bringing this reproach to us? We certainly don't practice that too much anymore.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's a little.
You reckon we should keep practicing that, let's investigate everyone, and if anyone is doing anything dodgy against the law of God, we just go straight away. Otherwise, we are going to be receiving the stiff end of the stick in our necks.
I think again we're looking at a context of theocracy. We're looking at a context of people who know better. I think there's definitely spaces for accountability amongst Christians today. Absolutely, I'm really into the idea and the concept of I can come to you, you can come to me and say, hey brother, I heard this. Why are you doing this? What's the deal? And we should be able to give answers and work it out and find a solution. I really believe in that. I don't believe in, everyone should just do whatever they want. And, in fact, usually, as the Bible says, when everyone comes to the place, and that's the next, but the book that follows Joshua, which we're seeing here is deep biblical interpretation, striving for faithfulness, trying to please God, trying not to have this collective, the sins of one person collectively fall on the nation. Literally the next book, the book of Judges, the Bible, it opens with, and everyone did right in their own eyes and they did evil against the Lord, and then they had all these problems, right? And so there is a necessity for accountability. But what we're seeing here, as you said, my Bible, I think, I forget what your Bible said in verse 16, but my Bible says, what treachery. What treachery.
Yeah. What is this unfaithful act, mine says.
What treachery. Again, getting to the heart of this idea that, hey, your unfaithfulness will ruin this for all of us. And, they are fair to, they're fair and right and within their own right mind to assume that this is the case. To say, hey guys, like if you're doing the wrong thing, it's going to befall upon all of us, and what God has called us to do and called us to be will ultimately fail. And so you can see, although they got together for war, what I don't see in this is a mob mentality. It doesn't say that they rocked up and just started
shooting, arrows.
Shooting arrows. Yeah, I thought you were going to say shooting guns. Like they didn't just rock up and start dropping bombs.
Yeah. They went there to really confront them.
That's right.
But they basically came up with a message. Hey, by the way, we're ready to fight if need be.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
That's right, Lawson. I'm loving that Bible study, man. I want to see what happens to these people. They were fighting, but look, they had a good point. But before we get into that, we are wondering if Producer Shao has a new quiz question for us and wants to know the answer to the previous one too.
Yeah, I would have accepted 6 or 7 as answers. Because, oh boy, we got correct answer. People are very excited in the studio. They got it right. So 6 or 7 was correct.
6, 7 kids.
Yeah, shout out the kids. 6, 7. All right.
Because there was people who are resurrected with Jesus, but it's recorded in a slightly different spot than his resurrection. So I would accept 7 if you go from the different recorded spots.
I only got 6, I think, here. So I got here. Help me find out which one I'm missing out, Producer Shao. I have Dorcas, I have Eutychus, I have Lazarus, I have the widow's son, the boy Tabitha, and then I had like the people resurrected around Jesus' resurrection.
That's right. That's what I said.
But there's one missing, right?
Jesus.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, Jesus is where I started.
I just took that for granted.
That's so funny.
All right. Hey, next quiz question. Let's jump into it.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, our last one.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it was just like it was a different category altogether.
Of resurrection.
That's why I was saying I would accept 6 or 7 because some people would put Jesus and the multitude of people together as one. But I'd say accept 7 as well because they're mentioned in different places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so our last one is a fill in the blank.
Okay.
Thy word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not blank against thee. Thy word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not blank against thee. It's very hard for me to not say this. Psalms 119, verse 11 is the answer, and we have correct answers in the studio. Our phone number is 0491 064 669. That number again, 0491 064 669. The question again was a fill in the blank. Thy word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not blank against thee.
Yeah, if you know the answer again, 0491 064 669. We have been talking about the children of Israel and this beef that's started among them, but for good reason. And we're seeing here like actually the fruits of like faithful confrontation, which is, and you might think, oh, well, didn't they say they're going to go to war with them? Like that's pretty hectic. But we see that, hey, we're seeing both sides of the stories. And this is the thing. If the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the Manassites were actually setting up altars to foreign gods, they should have gone to war against them. Like this is the reality. And they were unwilling to check because they were going to war against every tribe and every people group in Canaan that were doing that. And who knows better than the other Israelites themselves, right? That they shouldn't do this. And so, these guys would have just become another nation on their path of conquest. God says numerous times in the Torah, throughout the first 5 books of the Bible, particularly you look in the book of Deuteronomy and Numbers. Hey, I'm not giving you this land because you're amazing, you're righteous, you're faithful. Like, I'm not giving this to any of you, but I'm bringing you into this land as a result of my judgment of wickedness. Like, I have judged the wicked, and if they're going to participate in that, then this conflict should have come against them. But I like that the children of Israel have given them some. They've sent Eliezer here to be a type of representative and to get their message across. To make it really clear that, hey, this is the problem.
Yeah. So let's see what's the answer then. Of the Reubenites.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's pick it up in verse 21. And do you want to start reading for us?
Then the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad and the half tribe of Manasseh answered and spoke to the heads of the families of Israel. The mighty one, God, the Lord, the mighty one, God, the Lord, he knows, and may Israel itself know. If it was in rebellion, or if it was in an unfaithful act against the Lord, do not save us this day.
Okay, let's just stop quickly here. And this is essentially the point that I was just making. The Reubenites, the Gadites, the Manassites are affirming that. They're saying,
we're not rebelling.
Hey, if it
was rebellion, we
kill us.
Like kill us.
Yeah, war against us, come against us. We all know better than this.
Yeah.
If this was done in rebellion against God, we put us on the chopping block. Like that's what we're here for. That's what God's called us to. Keep reading.
If we have built us an altar to turn away from following the Lord, or if to offer a burnt offering or a grain offering on it, or if to offer sacrifices of peace offerings on it, may the Lord himself require it. So look, if we're building the altar for the purpose of offering sacrifices and so on, look, let the Lord take revenge on us. Let him destroy us, because this is not our intention at all.
Yeah.
But truly, we have done this out of concern, for a reason, saying, in time to come, your sons may say to our sons, what have you to do with the Lord, the God of Israel? For the Lord has made the Jordan a border between us and you sons of Reuben and you sons of Gad, you have no portion in the Lord, so your sons make our sons stop fearing the Lord. Man,
wow.
This is really interesting.
Wow. So essentially the argument that's coming through here is that, hey, in the future, that because of our division, because of the Jordan, there could be a certain point in generations in the future where we are stopped being considered Israelites.
Yeah.
Because we're on the other side of the Jordan.
That's right.
And then furthermore, and because of that, we're rejected and we turn to other gods.
Yeah, and we become enemies because your descendants can say, hey, these people had nothing to do with us. They're the other side of the river. They're not the same people. They don't even worship the same God. So say, look, we built an altar to make a statement to your sons to say, look, these people are, yes, we have an altar, but it's inoperable. We're not using it. We're not offering any sacrifices. It's just a symbol to say we are worshipers of Yahweh. We are Israelites just like you are. That's why we're building a copy of the tabernacle.
Yeah.
Of the altar of sacrifices.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the Lord, verse 25. For the Lord has made the Jordan a border between you and us. Verse 26. Therefore we said, let us build an altar, not for burnt offering, nor for sacrifice. Rather, it shall be a witness between us and you and between our generations after us, that we are to perform the service of the Lord before him with our burnt offerings and with our sacrifices and with our peace offerings, so that your sons will not say to our sons in time to come, you have no portion in the Lord. Therefore we said, it shall also come about, if they say this to our generation in this time to come, then we shall say, see, we have a copy of the altar of the Lord which our fathers made, not for burnt offering, not for sacrifice, but rather just to be a witness between us and you.
Wow.
You know what? Problem solved.
This is awesome.
They explain, look, we're not doing anything wrong here.
Hey,
I mean, do you think that they could have done something different? So their goal there is to have a witness, to say, look, we are witness of Jehovah. They couldn't have an altar, they couldn't have a statue or image, what? And if they had nothing, they thought that they were going to be accused of not being true worshipers, because in Shiloh they had a thing.
Yeah.
that tells them that we are worshiping Yahweh. So say, look, let's just build like a copy here,
Yeah.
so that you know, hey, we're together in this.
Yeah.
Do you think that they've done a good thing there, Lawson?
I think so. You know why? Because God has already set up pillars of memorial previously. Like this is, God is very much against idolatry, carved images, all this kind of thing. And he said so not only in the 10 Commandments, but in the commandment to the children of Israel to take out all the altars of the other nations, right? That, hey, this is not going to be a part of your worship. But also God set up these pillars these memorial pillars. In fact, you'd set one up already by the Jordan, for the conquest.
Yeah, we did the 12 stones from the river.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the upper is a bit different. It's a bit more intricate.
Yeah, 100%. But I like what you pointed out, which is like, what other option do they have to set up a memorial?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what other option do they have? They can't make engraven images.
No.
And for good reason.
That's right.
For good reason.
I'm not going to build another Ark of the Covenant just
Yeah.
to lay it out there exposed to the elements.
Yeah. And so instead they build this altar as a reminder to the people around, like, so that people can walk in. And, it'd be cool to know exactly what this altar looked like. We get some information from the text that it, was some stones and whatnot. It'd be cool if, we knew that, there was an inscription on the altar, which is like, hey, this is an altar dedicated to Yahweh.
Yeah.
Where people who worship Yahweh.
Put like a sign there saying burnt offerings and sacrifices are strictly forbidden.
Yeah, 100%.
One of these signs with like the red round
red
circle with a
this cross through it. Yeah. This is the express point that they're trying to make this altar that, hey, we remember this is awesome. They're saying, hey, you could make an accusation against us that we're not true people, but what if we forget? Like, you can make that accusation, but we can say, yeah, no, we are. But then what if one day, like, we forget who we are? We forget our origins, our beginnings.
Yeah, but our descendants, our sons
descendants,
and daughters,
right?
yeah.
Our descendants, our future generations, like, we don't want to forget either. And so they, and this is in a time where, like, there was very few copies of the Bible, right? Like, there was, these people didn't just have access to the Bible. They needed something to teach them, to help them to understand their history when they weren't, in Shiloh and then later Jerusalem, in the time of David because there was a few times the Ark of the Covenant, was in a few different places, and it settled eventually in Jerusalem with the temple there. Yeah. Until the point where, that all became clear, and it's like, hey, let's set up an altar to remind us who we are.
And can I say something here, Lawson? A little lesson that it's there. The Israelites were there, like from the 10 tribes that were in the other side of the Jordan. They were there were some red flags raised, and their feathers were, ruffled up, and I think for a good reason. But you know what? Let's just kind of think this. It is very hard when we see something that we perceive to be wrong. It is very hard for us to truly know what is the motives behind it. And I think that a lot of misunderstandings have happened like that. You see someone doing something and you jump into conclusions. And what is worse than jumping into conclusions is that staying into those wrong conclusions. So I see you doing something dodgy, and I start talking to Shell about it, and to Lyle about it, and to a whole bunch of people about it. Everybody in the office knows about it. I spoke to everyone but you.
Yeah.
And maybe if I could come to talk to you, and you can say, look, I'm doing it, but look, for a completely different reason than you're thinking here. I'm not doing this because of this because of that, this. And it can be a legitimate reason.
Yeah.
Or if it's not a legitimate reason, then I will, exhort you and say, hey, Lawson, man, don't do this, man. You're a follower of Jesus. This is very incoherent with your faith, man. Like, let me encourage you to trust in the Lord with all your life.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that, like, when we see something wrong and we jump into conclusions, and before we wage war against that person, like, let's just talk to them and really investigate to see if things are like they are. Because we could, just like the Israelites could be, we could just be, missing the point. There's maybe some explanation that we couldn't think of. That would be, and I'm glad. At times I had a few episodes where I felt that I was treated very unfairly by some of my friends in church.
Uh-huh.
And I could just, hold a grudge against them or just, stop talking to them. But I decided to call them. I think that's God was impressed with me. Said, look, Joseph, you know what? Why don't you practice what you preach? How about that? So I call him and say, look, friend, I have a grudge against you.
Wow.
And I said, look, you've done this, and that, and I felt this, and that. And it looks like you're just not going behind my back, and you're not respecting me, and all these kinds of things. And in both these circumstances, these people came to me and says, oh, just look, we're sorry. I didn't realize that we're going to cause that. This was my rationale behind it. I did this because A, B, C, and D. And even though I don't agree, I don't think that was the right choice or the right decision that they made. At least I knew now that it was not coming from a position of, hey, let's take Skafy behind his back.
Yeah.
Let's just do something to willingly undermine his authority, his position as a pastor, whatever it is. No, I could tell it was a genuine mistake or it was a genuine decision. Probably not the best one, but look, they had a good rationale about it. And what happens is that it subsided my wrath against them. It subsided my beef that I had against them. And I'm so glad that I did. My temptation, I was just very, very much inclined to do, you know what, I'm just going to suck it up and not say anything because I want to be, I want to avoid the conflict, but I'm just going to harness that bitterness in my own heart for a long, long time.
Stew over it for some time.
And I'm so glad that I could clear things up.
Yeah.
And I told them, look, and I'm every time that happens, look, I have something against you. I'm not very happy. I have a beef against you. And I even tell him, look, and I actually want to know if there's any good explanation because my mind is just telling me that there's only bad explanations to that.
Yeah.
But you know what? I know that I might be wrong, so I want to hear from you directly. And they even apologized in that. Look, I'm sorry. We could have probably done it in a different way, in a better way. And guess what? We grew. We became closer friends than we were before. And, we continue working to this day for the sake of the Lord.
Wow. Yeah, this is amazing. I love what you're saying, that this necessity for transparency and whatnot is the go. Now, I want to ask you the question, because let's say it goes the other direction. And maybe we need to answer this quickly, but essentially, in this particular case, it's like the reality is that they had a great explanation for what they were doing. It
was legitimate.
It was legit. Hey, this is what we want to do. And a bit of spoiler, we'll jump into it a bit tomorrow, is they subside that wrath and they subside that anger and they work together.
And they keep the altar?
We'll find out.
Okay.
But hey, I want to ask the question, what if, if these people said like, oh no, actually we want to worship other gods. They recommended that if they said that they should be killed.
Yeah.
What about, speaking of like your situation or for situations out, if someone comes back and it actually is for the reason that you assumed that they've done this, or maybe they try to lie to you to get out of it, but it's bad intentioned, false intention, negative intentioned. What do you do? Do you bring the hammer down?
No, the right thing to do is to say, yes, I've done this out of rebellion against God, and you're right, and I deserve to be punished. And I repent.
So this is for the other person. Like, this is for the person committing that action. What about for the person that's not?
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
Yes,
getting it done.
We are approaching the end of our show already, Lawson. But before we get there, I just want to get the answer to the quiz question first. And then we have a very popular giveaway resource today.
Yeah, the quiz answer is sin. Sin was the missing word for our fill in the blank, which is one of my favorite passages. I really love Psalms 119 a lot. Thy word have I hid in my heart that I might not sin against thee.
Meaning memorizing scripture, keeping it in your heart, and reciting it, thinking about it, it actually helps us to not sin against God. So when the time of temptation comes, that scripture will come that will encourage us, that will inspire us, that will give us wisdom. And speaking of sin, you know what is a sin? Voluntary ignorance is also a sin. Did you know that? It's in Deuteronomy. There's a very interesting passage about that. Like, people like, oh yeah, I know that I need to do something, but I don't want to learn about it because I don't want to be responsible for it. God said, look, don't do this. Actually, you're waging a war against your own soul. So we actually want to offer something that will end up any voluntary or involuntary ignorance about diabetes. Look, sometimes people get diabetes, they go to the GP, they go to the doctor, and they only have like 5-minute appointments. So they leave the meeting, the consult room, with more questions unanswered than when they came up in. And we don't want this to be the case for you. We want, if you live with diabetes, if you're pre-diabetic, or if you know anyone in your family or your friends that have diabetes, if you want to learn more about this topic, how to prevent diabetes or how to minimize the complications from diabetes or even reverse it, we have a book that is going to go to great lengths to you. What book are we talking about here, Lawson?
Of course, we're talking about 9 Ways to Prevent Diabetes by Donald Hall. We want to give this one to you absolutely for free because we want you to beat diabetes, bro.
Yeah.
We want you to be living your best life.
And look, there's no shortcuts here. This book is like the good old-fashioned, change your lifestyle, do it the God natural way to reverse, to prevent, minimize complications of diabetes. But the good thing is, it doesn't need to be overwhelming. You don't need to do the 9 things at one time. You can just look at one little thing per day or per week. Just go at your own pace. The important thing is that you can be a better person today than you have been yesterday.
Yeah.
You can do something about your health today, and you can continually improve so that you can enjoy your family, you can enjoy your life, you can be of better utility to the God of your heart. So, Lawson, what else do we have to do? Do we have a quiz answer that we have to give? We have already spoken about that. Yeah, we talked about sin. We talked about the book Diabetes.
I asked you a question.
Yeah. You were asking me a question. That's where we were.
I was asking you a question, which was so the children of Israel come to the Reubenites, Manassites, and Gadites.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And fortunately, they have a really good and sincere answer. You related to this in a particular story from your life where it was like you came to someone that
had jumped into conclusions as well myself.
But they had slided. You went to that person, and what they explained, you're like, okay, that actually makes sense in terms of, how they felt and why they would have done that. It maybe wasn't the right thing, but we can clear this up and move on. What if you go and it just turns out it's just malicious? Like this person, whoever it may be, it's
not really malicious. People will try to hide it.
Sure.
Even if they veneer and lie and camouflage, but if they were like so sincere that they say, yeah, I've done this because I was trying to, take you down. I'm not repentant of that and so on. Well, then you do Matthew 18.
Yeah.
If they're a Christian, you say, look, but you know that the Bible talks negatively about it, or God forbids this.
Yeah.
And if they say, if they're not recognizing that, you call in 2 or 3 witnesses. Maybe they just have a beef with you. And if it comes out of the mouth of someone else, how many times, Lawson, have you said something to like a person close to yourself, maybe your wife, or maybe even myself? And I'm not going to do it just because it's Lawson and I, But then the expert comes and says the exact same thing that you've said. And then the person says, okay, now I'm going to follow. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah.
Like the prophets, the prophet is not without honor except in his own household kind of a vibe.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
So it can happen. So that's why you call 2 or 3 people to see. And then if that doesn't happen, you call the entire church. You just set like a little tribunal, I guess. And you say, look, like we look into it, we pray, like this is what the Bible is saying. It's like, it's not like Skafy, it's not Lawson, it's not like Lawson, Skafy, and Shell. It's just like everybody thinks that what you're doing here is clearly going against the scriptures here.
Yeah.
And and Jesus says, look, if they still refuse, just treat them as a Gentiles, like someone that needs to be won afresh.
Again, yeah.
Someone that just, needs to have a new experience of conversion.
What about what about
Matthew 18.
When you say go to the church, would that include putting it on Facebook, calling that person out publicly, saying, hey, this person...
No, not at all. Not having actually someone like I heard of a church before, like a friend of mine used to go to that church, and for the members that were not returning their tithes, they had a list in the door of the church with the hall of shame. So these are the members that are not returning their tithes. They're like A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.
Wow.
Yeah. So no, I don't believe in public shaming at all. I believe in keeping it as low profile as possible and as private as possible, so that you also don't want to cause a stumbling block to people that are just coming in, hearing that matter, and they're not listening to both sides.
Yeah. Hey, look. Come to my church. We won't shame you. We won't put you on the shame list. There's nothing like that happening. It's not happening in your church either, though, right?
No. Not happening in my church at all. And it's probably never going to will.
Yeah,
it depends on me.
That's awesome. Oh, well, hey, I feel like there's some really great principles here to learn how to deal with conflict is so necessary. This has been a big step that I've needed to take in my life. I'm super conflict avoidant. If I was one of these Israelites and I heard that the Manassite, Reubenite, Gadites did something, I would be like, guys, like, it's probably okay.
Oh, you give me some ideas, Lawson.
It's probably fine. Let's just leave them.
I'm going to start actively causing trouble in your life just so you can. And you can say, Scott, why are you doing this? I'm saying, Lawson, just so you can learn how to
deal with conflict.
I'm just forcing conflicts here so you can come out of your shell there.
Dude, and then we take it up with HR and boom. That'd be so wild.
And then they ask me why. I'll have a great explanation just like the Reubenites did.
Yeah.
Look, it was for the well-being of Lawson and his future generations.
And then they'll say, listen, the Fair Work Act doesn't cover that. So, see you later. Oh, that's so funny. It's like, bullying to, get someone tougher against bullying. That's wild. But hey, no, it's good stuff. Like, I'm learning a lot from this. And maybe you're listening this morning. And I think this is really important. We've given information, I think, advice that could cover the spectrum. Hey, if you're conflict avoidant, if you're not conflict avoidant, whatever it may be, learn to deal with it properly. Talk faith, live faith, and act faith.
God be with you till we meet again. God be with you till we meet again. By his counsel's guide uphold you, with his sheep securely fold you. God be with you till we meet again. Until we meet again at Jesus' feet again. God be with you till we meet again.
Thanks for being a part of the Faith FM family. Join our community on Facebook or get in touch at 1-800-FAITH-FM.